What's up, you guys? Today we're playing Lookouts, and this was a game that I was planning on streaming, but computer said no work, so here we are. And there was no like actual main menu, so here we are, just thrown right into things. Boss. So you sure we can trust this friend of yours' info? It'll be a crying shame if you're wrong about this. We got Boss and Guy, okay? This guy is someone to ride the river with. He never sell me bunk information. That town has struck gold. That's what he heard. Heard? He just heard about it? What kind of source is that? We can't go off of rumors, you nutcase. Damn, boss. But think about it. We'll be living like English kings if we take over a supply like that. I mean, I don't know what we're talking about, but like, he's got a point. What else are we gonna do? The last job was a bust. We got nothing left. Hmm, alright. We've had some bad luck and are running low on supplies. We'll take that town by hook or by crook. And if they don't have that gold, we can take them for what they do have and skedaddle. The lookout'll go early in the morning and see what we're up against, but I reckon we can bulldoze this burg and have some fun either way. Make sure to bring us back some juicy details, won't you, Tomboy? He firmly slaps you on the back. I honestly thought that I was gonna say he firmly slaps you on the butt, but laughter fills the camp around the roaring fire. Aw, wow. Just a couple of guys being dudes. Sounds like you'll be riding that sun up to check the town out. You feel it's best to get some sleep. I really like this drawing style. If I could draw, this is what I'd want to be like. Damn, this music kinda loud. This music kinda loud. Hold on. The desert is an orange haze. Scorched sands whip up around your horse's legs. The sun hot against your back as you ride towards the town. There's not much to be done while riding. The desert is lonely, harsh, bare. Only thing to do is to think. Is this me? Is this me? You don't like being alone with your thoughts so often for so long. Damn, he just like me for real. but you but you always are alone as the lookout, alone being the odd stick of the gang. No one talks to you unless they need something. You daydream as you ride, like usual. Flights of fancy of settling down somewhere. You're tied to Curly Wolf and his gang, though. Is it so much to ask to be able to live in peace? To not have to fight for survival? Always on the run? Maybe that's what your life will always be like, gang or not. A hunted outcast. ... They could have sent you off with some playing cards at the very least. You come to an outcropping near a cliff. Tying up your horse, you approach the edge and see the town come into view. Ooh, let's see this town, let's see this town. A nice frontier town, small, but clearly bustling with people. White painted signs on the wooden building glint and bloom in the midday sun. You can't see much else from way up here, and turn to go get your binoculars. I feel like I should have already had them out. I mean, I'm a lookout. I'm looking out, need the binoculars. You open your saddlebag and pull the metal binoculars out, brushing it against your poncho to dust off the lenses. Turning back to walk to the edge, a figure suddenly rounds the corner of the large rock you decided to set up. Oh god, sorry, I saw this guy roll in and he does look a little scary, I won't lie. Made me falter in real life. Um ah ah Out of instinct, your hand snaps up to your holstered gun and pulls it, trained squarely at the head of this new person. The bird, who seemingly came out of nowhere, looks at you, clearly just as surprised and out of sorts from your own presence. He shifts backwards, eyeing your hand on your gun. The air feels very still all of a sudden, and given you have the upper hand, you take a moment to look at who just crossed your path. I know that's not what it said, but I don't care. Oh my god. Can you guys hear the dog barking outside? Oh my god. I wonder how loud that is. YouTubers are always like, or streamers, they're always like, oh my god, sorry you can hear this noise in the background. And then, like, I'm sitting there watching the video, like, I can't hear anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, he's definitely an outlaw, like yourself. A rugged beak, shining in the sun, centers a face you would admittedly find charming. Oh my god, dude, we got a crush? Do we have a crush already? Shush! His face and arms are marked with scars, and a large sawn-off shotgun hangs in his holster. Since he's a bird, you know to be wary, just like he'll know to be very wary of cannon? Like yourself. If I said that wrong, shut up, I don't want to know. Howdy there. What's your name, partner? Joseph? I mean, you don't really look like a Joseph. Are you from JoJo's? What are you doing all the way out here, Joseph? You seem a dreadful long way away from where one might think you should be. Ah, could ask you the same question. Should I do a bad accent? You stare him dead in the eye. He's pretty calm for someone having a gun pointed at his head, but you can see some of his feathers quivering. Were you trying to sneak up on me, Joseph? Rob me blind where no one else could see? I bet you thought a fellow missing an arm would. Why did I just now notice that he's missing an arm? I didn't realize that before. A fellow missing an arm would be easy. No, sir. I had no idea you were here till I walked around this rock here. He pats the red stone behind him as if to make a point. Sir? What in the Sam hell? You lower your gun, like your shoulder joint just gave out, and let it hang there. In all my years, no stranger has ever called me sir. Well, color me surprised, fella. You'd have to be blind or full as a tick to not see an upstanding young gentleman. Me? Dude, are we flirting? Alright. Now you're just licking my boots. Yeah, we don't like bootlickers here. The hawk puts a hand to his chest. God as my witness, I ain't lying to you. You holster your gun and snort a small laugh. Dude, I think we're flirting. May he strike you down as penance then. What are you doing out here? Picking flowers? The smile drops from his face. He stops short and swallows, like he can't bear to say the next words. You know, he's kinda... I'm part of the Black Vulture gang. I'm on a lookout here to survey this here burg. That's very forward of you, considering I just had a gun pointing your way. I'm part of the Curly Wolf gang. I'll be damned. You boys have been all over the West. What brings you right here? Much the same as you, I would imagine. Rumors of gold. You'd have it just right. Well, I can imagine what my boss might want me to do, coming across someone who's sticking their beak in our business. Joseph tenses up, feathers ruffled. He understands full well what you mean. Conflicting interests and all. ... But he's not here. Would be a real waste of a good bullet to use it on you. Is that an insult, or are you trying to make a mash on me? I've got no goddamn clue what that means. But I think we're flirting. Like I really do think this. The small jibe is enough to make you stop talking and search for the binoculars you threw when you pulled your gun. Turning your face away to hide the blood rushing to your cheeks under your dark fur. I mean, babe, you just said it, like, you have fur. I don't think he's gonna notice you're blushing. But I mean, you know, instincts and all. You dust the binoculars off again and walk over to where Joseph is standing, his eyes keenly trained on the town. Don't need no binoculars then, huh? No, sir, these eyes can see all the faces of those people down there, no problem. Sir, again? Maybe it's just a habit of his to call people that. Say, why do you keep calling me sir? I ain't your boss. You just that much of a polite suck-up? Damn, bro. Costs nothing to be kind on the trail, I found. What do most call you then? Ah. You thought this might come up, of course. You're surprised it took this long for him to ask about who you are, what you are. Most would say tomboy, I would think, or other things I wouldn't repeat in such polite company. And what would you call yourself? The question takes you by surprise. Something else no one's ever asked you. I'd call myself a man. Huh, is that so? He's gonna think you're a nut now, you just know it. You'd better be getting on your horse right now and riding back than staying another second around this stranger. How funny. I guess we're in the same boat if I'm picking up what you're putting down. Might say that the guys at the camp don't use shove the queer to talk about money. Yo, slay! You nod at him, unsure whether to laugh or not. Neither of you seem sure what to say now. Instead, you hold the binoculars to the bridge of your nose and investigate the town, looking down into the valley. After a spell of looking at nothing in particular in silence, you take the binoculars away from your face again, readjusting to the late morning light. You glanced at Joseph's keenly trained eyes, then back to the town. You can't help but stare at the clump of a couple dozen or so buildings. You couldn't help but think about the real people's lives going on down there every day. Deaths and celebrations, harvests, prayers. How you were gonna hurt him. How you were both gonna hurt him. ... You know, if you just don't think about it, it won't happen. If you just like pretend this is not happening, then it doesn't affect them. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, right? I don't get it. Joseph's voice snaps you out of your staring. Why would Black Vulture want to come here? There's nothing here. No mines in use, no bank, and they sure as hell ain't rich by the looks of things. Maybe they struck a new vein. This is a miner's town after all. But you're right. Something strange going on. Well, 2 sets of eyes are better than 1, right? You want to work together? You watch my back, I'll watch yours. Deal? A huge feathered hand shoots out at you in expectation. You look at his face, and you both lock eyes for a moment. You're not sure what, but there's something in his eyes that makes you feel seen, being looked at rather than through. Boys, you ever seen something LGBT? Ooh, scene change. Let's go! Like I said before, I can't remember if I actually did say this, but I'm like, if I could draw, I'd want it to look like this. Like, you gently grab his hand, and a second winged hand clasps on and gives you your whole arm a big shake. Jesus Christ, I can't read. Whoa, careful there, don't need to lose another. He lets go and puts his hands on his hips, smiling at you. Hey, come on now. Let's get on down there. He walks past you and heads toward a winding, rocky pathway down the side of the valley cliff. You take a moment to look at the town again, walking along the cliff edge to catch up with Joseph. Wondering if he could see how red your face had been under your black fur. I promise you, he couldn't. It's just not possible. Clambering down the cliff face, the shade of the valley is a welcoming change after your long ride in the sun. The climb down is quiet, only a few grunts and gripes and a couple of voices of concern from Joseph. You quickly waved off. You both approach a wooden sign you spotted a little ways off, swaying in the desert wind. It looked relatively new, a board hanging on 2 chains, a word carved into the wood. That definitely would have tripped me up if I didn't hesitate for those 2 seconds. Can you read it? It was only a single word, but you couldn't piece together quite how to say it. Are we illiterate? Are we on our illiterate arc? Because literally same, I'm struggling to read. No. Well, I'm sure someone will tell us. You notice some familiar smells drift on the wind as a gust blows through the town past you. Tobacco smoke, whiskey, stewing meat from somewhere. I want food. I'm hungry, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It reminded you of the camp. Wow, look at this. Look at this guy. Walking more into town, you get a better look at the buildings that were just dots up on the cliff. There was a saloon at least, seemingly one of the older buildings in the town, as well as what you guessed was a sheriff's building, although the sign outside looked to be busted up. Everything else you could see from here seemed to be houses and whatnot. Leftovers clearly made by miners, not built to be sturdy or last long, but had been fixed up to be livable for folks. Clearly Clearly the people here like this place, and if they get a whiff of why you're both here, yeah, we're gonna be in some trouble. There's gonna be an angry mob. Alright, partner. I say if we get given any evil eyes, we hightail it out of here. Ain't worth getting shot in a place like this. Sure thing. We got each other's backs, remember? Remember? You nod at him. We'd best get talking to people. Daylight's burning. Oh, here comes someone now. Sure enough, you see a short figure approaching you from the sheriff's office. Nor not the sheriff's office. You hear the pound of a cane on the dirt as they limp towards you with a vigor in their step. Now, who's this guy? He looks like a lizard or something. Or like a bearded dragon, I don't know. When they get closer and the haze of the desert heat obscures them less, you see a smartly dressed old lizard standing before you both. Okay, I promise I didn't read that when I said it. I just, you know, I'm good at guessing, I guess. Cane in one hand and a metal flask in the other. Howdy, fellas. I'm Sheriff. You don't have a name, or you're just Sheriff? Is that how you became the sheriff? You were born to be one? Welcome to Clemency. Interesting name, okay. A pleasure to meet you, Sheriff. He gave the lizard an expectant look, waiting for a name. My name is Sheriff. Just Sheriff. That's all you need. Alright, fair enough, fair enough. And what do you call yourselves? My name's Joseph, and my associate here is... He gestured towards you and turned to look at you, a subtle panic running across his eyes. He's like, shit, what's your name again? You realize that he just realized you never gave your name. What is your name? Oh, is our normal name Robin? Alright, I'm gonna, for the sake of the lore and storytelling, I'm just gonna use this name because I kind of don't want to, guys, because that's my mom's name, I'm not gonna lie. And that's kind of weird. What should I name him? I don't want to use my name. What's a good name? Here, I'm gonna open up a random name generator. Hold on. Okay, I just generated a name on behindthename.com, and it gave me this name. Kinneret? How would you guys say that? What sounds better? Kinneret or Kinneret? I think Kinneret sounds better. Does it say how to say this? I'm gonna say Kinneret because I think that sounds cooler. Alright, that's our names apparently. I'm Kinneret. Pleasure to meet you. I know if anybody watches this, they're gonna be pissed that I'm not saying it, that I'm saying it the wrong way. But it's, you know what? This is my OC now, and I get to say the name however I want. And if I forget how I said it and then change it later, that's my own business. So, I'm Kinneret. Pleasure to meet you. You said this while looking at Joseph, resisting the urge to wink at him before looking back to the sheriff. So, what brings you two to our fine town? We're just riding through, needed a rest stop. There a problem with that? Damn, Kinneret, chill. They ain't say nothing. He's just doing his job, I guess. Look, I'm Joseph. Joseph nudges you with his elbow a bit. Glancing at his eyes, you can tell he's saying, "Don't be rude." No, not at all. I'm just the closest thing we have to a welcome committee, and it's always nice to see some new faces all the way out here. How long will you be staying? The saloon has some rooms if you'd like to stay the night. That's an awful kind offer, Sheriff, but we'll be gone before nightfall. At least, that's the idea. Maybe we'll like this town so much we'll stay. Any southern person hearing me try to do accents is probably rolling in their graves and they're not even dead. And to that I say, sorry. Joseph and Sheriff both chuckle, and Sheriff sighs. Well, you boys let me know if you need anything. I'll be at home most likely. Will do. I still don't know what I want Joseph to really sound like. So like his voice keeps changing because I don't know what he should sound like. I kind of want it to be like, he seems like a gentleman, but I'm like, how do you be like gentleman and also Southern? I'm not saying those things can't be done, but I'm saying I don't know how to sound that way. Yup. With a tip of his hat, Sheriff turned and started walking back to the building at the end of the road. With the lizard out of earshot, Joseph turns to you. So, partner, what's our plan? You, you look around the town for a moment, surveying the handful of people walking about, talking to each other around their houses. Taking in the warm wind blowing past you with a deep breath. We get talking to folks. And what? They just run their mouths about all the gold they found? No, but I reckon a town this size, if they've struck something, there'll be a buzz about it. We ask them about themselves, about the town. Someone will spill sooner or later. Alright then. Well, got a pretty good peep at the place on the way down. We got a saloon just there, we got some sort of town hall over the far side, and we got sheriff's station at the end of the road by the looks. Where to? I mean, if you want to know gossip, you gotta go to the saloon, right? Like, that's where people talk. Let's check out the saloon. I reckon if anyone knows anything about these rumors, it'll be in there. Alrighty then. I don't usually do character voices when I play these on my own, so it's kind of fun. It's goofy, and I know people are like, oh, this is cringe. No, you're being cringe right now. And I'm like, I am fucking cringe, but I am free. Walking through the doors of the saloon, you're hit with the very familiar smell of tobacco and alcohol hanging in the air. A couple patrons drink and talk quietly in the corner, not taking any notice of you two. You see a dozen or so tables, and looking up, there's a second floor with the room Sheriff mentioned. Howdy there. Is this like a turkey or a vulture, maybe? Your attention is grabbed by an excitable... Oh, she's excitable and friendly. Okay, I know that now. An excitable and friendly voice coming from a short bird standing behind the bar, who is now grabbing a couple of glasses. My name is Bartholomew. What can I get you fellas? He started wiping the glasses expectantly, glancing between you both as you walked the few steps from the doors to stand at the bar. I'll get a beer. Alright, and you? How do I tell them I don't drink? I'll have what he's having. Yep, coming right up. Oh, I love the slide off the screen. He set the mugs down and disappeared through a door behind the bar into a back room. I don't have any money on me, Joseph. Don't worry about that. It's on me. He pat you on the back with a big wing a couple times and withdrew his hand when he saw you went a little. Oh my! I was looking at the drawings again, and I was like, oh no, we're the skinny person and the buff boy trope. Oh, sorry, that was too hard. No, you're fine. You hadn't winced from pain. You just weren't used to someone touching you like that. Friendly, like. Bartholomew reappeared with 2 glass bottles, tipping them into the mugs with satisfying glugs before taking a couple of coins from Joseph. Thank you kindly. You both take a sip. Joseph seems to enjoy it, but you find it a bit more bitter. You try not to pull a face. Yo, he's just like me for real. Not like it. You smile weakly. Not my thing. Noted. He winks at you, and you feel your cheeks redden a little. Damn, we just met 30 minutes ago? We're already having a beer in the saloon? Slay. You both keep drinking while the bartender busies himself behind the bar. The saloon is quiet. A piano sits gathering dust in the corner, seemingly untouched for many moons. Wind whistles through a gap in the saloon doors, carrying the sound of desert insects. Slow day, huh? You look up from your drink and see he's looking at the bartender, who doesn't seem to have taken any notice. He glances at you both and realizes rather sheepishly he was being talked to. Oh, beg your pardon. Slow day? No, this is about the usual. It gets a lot more lively in the evenings when the sun goes down. Everyone comes here to take a load off. So, you know everyone here pretty well then? Oh, well, of course. Not exactly a big town. We're a pretty tight-knit lot here. Why is that? This is a mining town, right? These places usually explode with people. Well, I can't say I know much. He looks oddly unsettled by your question. Hey, what's going on? What's going on here? How long you lived here for? He perks up again from whatever you said that troubled him, the brightness returning to his voice. Oh, well, I'd say somewhere close to 8 years. That's a darn long time. Yeah, I suppose it is. What made you stay? Never mind staying. How'd you even find this place? I've never even heard it till we stumbled past. Bartholomew's cheery smile dropped a little, morphing into something more wistful, like the face of someone looking at an old, now bittersweet photograph. You boys ask a lot of questions, don't you? You and Joseph look at each other for a moment, expecting the other to say something, but nothing comes out. I don't mind. To give it a fair shake, this town ain't the most exciting. It's nice to talk to some new ears that ain't tired of my squawking already. He gives a little half-hearted chuckle. Oh damn, we're about to get like a backstory or something. Well, I found this place because I heard about there being gold. Like a lot of folks, I was fixing to get my fill. You and Joseph both lean in a little at the mention of gold. My fiance was running away from home, and I was going with him. We thought we'd go out west and make our fortune. Looking back on it, I get why so many people called us foolish. I might have been one of them if it were the other way around. But we had our hearts set on it. We followed the road by wagon, and it was damn tough. Hellish even. Thank our lucky stars we made it here to Clemency on a wing and a prayer. That was when we really felt like we were foolish. When we got here, talking about gold, we almost got ran out of town. I don't know the details, but there was a lot of trouble here with when miners ran this place. No one's been digging for decades now, but word hasn't traveled far enough, it seems, to let us know at the time. At first, Sheriff told us to leave. Didn't want no more of our kind causing trouble. But when Sheriff saw how stuck we were, how we had nowhere else to go, how rough the journey had been on us, Sheriff's nothing if not kind. Could see we weren't troublemakers, just wanted a better life somewhere. Thank you for the tragic backstory. I really appreciate that, Bartholomew. He shrugged, like there was nothing more to it. With the town's help, we gussied up this here saloon into something I could run, and the rest is history. I'm glad you found something here. Yeah, I can say that for sure. Clemency may be small, but it's something real special if you ask me. So there's no gold here? Bartholomew leaned back against the shelves behind him, crossing his arms. Not as far as I know. These mines are around here somewhere, but I ain't never seen them. This hasn't been a mining town for a long time, and folks here don't think of it as one. You do well to keep that in mind. He tapped the side of his beak as if to say, if you catch my drift. Even so, I would be interested in the history of the town. Afraid that well runs dry here, but there's others who have been here far longer than I have. You can always talk to Sheriff if you haven't yet. Sheriff made this place what it is today. Want to know something? That's the lizard to talk to. Thank you, Bartholomew. No problem, it's my pleasure. Bartholomew stood up from his lean and stretched his back and arms a little. Slinging his cloth over his shoulder, he picked up a small, clinking and rattling box before walking through to the back room. Daylight's burning. I think we best get going. Agreed. You stood at the bar and waited a moment while Joseph downed his beer, and then yours too. I was gonna say, like, don't fucking waste it, bro. That's money well spent. Hope you can hold that. Oh, please. How little you must think of me. Only a couple beers. You should have seen me at the Long Branch and Dodge, drank the entire gang under the table. You can't help but smile at his cockiness, unsure whether to believe him. You briefly think back on the times the gang had gone to bars. You were always told to stay outside. Don't wander off. A dog on a leash waiting for master to come back. Staring into the lamplit streets and hearing the braying crowds all around you, drunken strangers enjoying each other's company as much as their liquor. At first, they told you it was dangerous for you to stray too far. Then they started telling you to stay outside after you'd beaten the teeth out of a guy in an alley who knew and had been staring at you. Sorry, who you knew and had been staring at you. Couldn't have you causing them needless trouble. Off so soon? Bartholomew reemerged into the bar looking expectantly. Yeah, please break me out of my depressing thoughts. Well, don't be a stranger, strangers. You're welcome to come back later when the bar's more lively. My husband would love to meet you both. The casual lilt of his words caught you off guard, and you think you see Joseph stumble a little. Failing to get any words out, he just tips his hat, and you both leave the saloon, stepping back into the dust and dry desert heat. Where to? Well, I mean, he did say to check out the sheriff's office. It might help. So I guess let's go there. Sheriff should know something, surely. Yes, sir. I doubt we're the only ones who come looky-loo in here before. That's how you say that. And Sheriff did say to come find him if we needed anything. You walk the same direction you saw Sheriff leave. Down toward the closest edge of town, through what might be considered the main street were this town bigger. Sheriff's office is modest, one of the smaller buildings in town, a short, square stone block with barred windows and a lopsided wooden door. Charming. As you get close to the squat building, Joseph slows down and raises an arm to your chest to slow you as well. What are we slowing for? Okay, partner, what's the plan here? You and I both know Sheriff is gonna be the most paranoid, owl-headed son of a gun in this burg. We can't go waltzing in there, shooting our mouths off about just anything. Yeah, you're right. All we really need to know is if Sheriff is gonna put up a fight. Somehow I feel like they're not your usual lawmen. You look around, thinking for a bit. Two halves of a tattered sign swing in the wind on the chattering chains in front of the building. It seems it had said Sheriff once, and the edges of it had the remnants of bullet holes, shattered and charred wood. Damn. So this town been through it, is what I'm hearing. I say we tell him what's really happening. To call Joseph face incredulous at that moment would have been an understatement. He scoffed a little out of curiosity, rubbing his chin with a feathered hand and trying to think of what you could mean. What are you saying? We admit while we're here, acknowledge the corn? Sorta. I think we can tell Sheriff that there's outlaws coming and we're worried, like, about the town. That's a dangerous play. Look, Sheriff is gonna have a good idea why we're snooping around if we don't have a simple, honest reason to throw off a scent. It's easier to lie when there's some truth to it. You know, I hate to say it, but I do be making some sense. Joseph rubbed his chin and sighed. I think so too. But still, I can't help to feel jumpy walking into the lion's den. You knew what he meant. For people like you, a sheriff's office was never where you wanted to wind up. True. True. Oh god, this looks shabby. This does be looking shabby. Walking into the office together, Joseph ducks to clear the doorway. Oh, so he's tall. He's like 6 feet. He's 6'3" even. He's just so damn tall. Oh my god. See, but like he might be big and tall, but like I'm like almost his height. So like he's like 6'5" and I'm like 6'2". I'm just making shit up. I don't even know what's going on. You find the inside to be much more well kept than the outside, which had clearly seen some wear and tear in its time. Sunlight and dust in equal measure came in through the windows, landing upon the desk of Sheriff, who was currently rapidly filling a piece of paper with a pencil in hand. After you close the door behind you, you both wait for a few seconds for Sheriff to notice you. Before you can politely knock on the closed door for attention, Sheriff raises a finger on a pencil-holding hand to ask for a moment's more waiting. Sometimes I read words and I'm like, did I read that right? But then I'm too lazy to read it again. So I'm just like, well, if that ain't what it said, then that ain't what it said. This was followed by a hasty scribbling onto the end of the piece of paper before the pencil was thrown onto the desk with little regard. Two keen eyes landed on you and Joseph. Oh god, he knows we're criminals. Oh fuck, what voice did I give him? Do anything. Howdy there, fellas. I thought I might be seeing you again. What voice did I give him? Howdy again, Sheriff. Now, what can I be helping you both with today? Oh, well... Joseph turned to you, locking eyes, and you saw the slight wild panic of someone caught in a trap and looking for a way out. Joseph, bro, please. He can't do nothing. How are you a criminal? You can't lie? Do you protect this town? Sheriff looked miffed, unsure how to respond, like someone had just asked if the sky was blue. Yeah, I didn't mean it like that. As much as anyone else who lives here, yes. Oh, sorry, that was the sheriff. What does that mean? I thought you were a lawman. Sheriff regarded you with some annoyance, still seemingly puzzled over what you were asking. I think I see the confusion here. I'm not a lawman. In fact, I'd say I'm not a man at all. Or a woman. Oh my god, he's non-binary. Or they're non-binary. Sheriff kept looking at you both, trying to gauge your reaction. Whether you could be trusted, you guessed. Well, good for you, Sheriff. But we're gay. Or we're queer, at least. We are all LGBT. My name is Sheriff. That is the monk here. I've chosen, and I'd ask kindly you refer to me as so, or not at all. I mean slay. No, for sure. Joseph tipped his hat politely. Not a problem, Sheriff. Do you run this town then? That would also be a no. I'm a founder, you might say, but I don't solely run this town. You boys are asking some real strange questions. Is there something I ought to know? Joseph had faltered, and now you did too. This isn't what you just planned. You were just saying the first things that came to mind, fixing on Sheriff with a calm pair of eyes, but a shakiness in the knees. Maybe you hoped Sheriff would say something that would change things, change what you were both there for. Before you could fall over, Joseph placed a hand on your shoulder, and you tensed before he gave it a light squeeze, stepping in. We heard from some other fellas on the trail that there were outlaws around, coming this way even. I see. Well, you boys shouldn't worry. We know how to care for ourselves in clemency. We don't get in trouble around here often, but we make sure to run them off before anything starts. So, you've been here for a while then? Yeah, ages. How'd you end up living here anyhow? What's the story? You said you were some kind of founder? Don't get it twisted now. I'm not really a founder. Well, it's hard to explain. I used to be a marshal. Got sent here somewhat 30 years ago already. And you liked it so much you stayed. Joseph gives a little bellow of a laugh, but Sheriff's is much more half-hearted. My favorite thing is how I cannot be consistent with these voices or accents. They're something, that's for sure. No, Will. I wish I could say things back then were as good as they are now. Sheriff stood up, grabbing the cane by the desk. That thumped softly as Sheriff started pacing a little through the small office, stretching stiff legs. You boys know this used to be a mining town, right? Of course. Well, I used to live. Oh, Jesus. Well, I used to be the lawman of this mining town. Greenhorn out here. Greenhorn out on their first assignment, trying to keep the peace here. What a joke. The miners had it out for each other. There was nothing but bad blood and gold fever. I learned all too well during that time what it looks like. Gold fever in the eyes. What people would do to satisfy it. That town was on a constant powder keg, and I was only one marshal. Felt like there was nothing I could do. I felt like I needed to do more. I needed to do something to calm the place. I asked the marshals who sent me. They don't give a hoot. If anything, they tell me to keep the hands off. Let them figure it out themselves. Shoot them if they step too out of line. That never sat right with me. If there's something you should know about me, about how I conduct my business and take care of this town, it's that I care about justice. Real justice. Not the justice others suck up to, claim to care about. I learned very quickly that the law is not about real justice. Yo, Sheriff is based. Bro, let's go. Sheriff punctuated those words, said with such fire, with bangs of the cane on the floor. Yo, Sheriff's going ham. The law of the marshals is not the justice I recognize. It's why I took the name Sheriff. I wanted the name for myself. They didn't deserve it. Strange, I know. Thank the Lord, much good he's done me, that I met at least one like mine in that town. I did see you were wearing a wedding ring. I didn't want to say anything. Who's the special person? ... Sometime in the winter, we had a caravan arrive in town. People who had been traveling across the trail needed somewhere to stay for a spell. Had some to sell as well, furs and such, anything to help get by. Friendly folks, I enjoyed their company. Spent a night drinking with them around their wagons. The miners didn't take kindly to them, didn't trust them. That was a week I'll never forget. Constant accusations of stealing and flare-ups, shouting matches, almost ended in drawn irons. The miners were so darn jumpy and owl-headed about the slightest things. You know how like everyone's an animal in this? How do the owls feel about people saying the phrase owl-headed? Do you think like that would be offensive to them, or I don't know. 3 days later, a miner turns up dead, stabbed in his sleep. The miners all accused one of the traders doing it, a Mexican fella. Claimed it was his knife that did the deed. I had to arrest him. Held him in his cell here. The tap of the somewhat rusted metal bars with the cane rang out into the room. The traders all came to tell me that I was wrong, that he'd never do anything like that. Once again, I know that I misread that, but anyways. They helped push me in the right direction. I'd already had some suspicions about the miners' claims. A lot of accusations have been flying around about the Mexicans and Indians traveling in the caravans. Anyways, it's not things are getting wild in Caillou's house. I did a little investigating and found that the miner had been killed by one of his friends. Another feud about gold. Some stolen or missing, and his so called friend had killed him for it. The miners wouldn't believe it, insisted the man in the cell was guilty. I wonder if maybe they just couldn't see what I could. See things through my eyes. It felt like a mockery of justice, of everything I cared about. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Early the next morning, I asked the traders to leave and take their friend with them. Oh, I thought there was more of that. Sheriff notices how intently you both are listening, watery eyes flicking between you both. Damn. Sheriff surely just was spilling all that history. Anyway, that's a lot of blabbering from me already. Long story short, I kicked the miners out for the better. You make it sound like it was real easy. How'd you get that many miners to just abandon gold? Yeah, how did you do that, Sheriff? I did what I had to, and I have no regrets or weight on my soul for it. Really getting them out, that was the easy part, I suppose. We moved and rebuilt some of the town further from the mines. We all wanted a fresh start. The years since have been hard, very hard. I don't have this stick because I've been sitting on my jollies and gazing at sunsets. This town may be small, but it's got a lot of work to keep going. Sheriff turned and went to sit at the desk again, the chair creaking beneath old bones. Sheriff, I'm sorry, I don't mean to misgender you. Don't take my grapping to think I'm not thankful for this place, though. I've done a lot for it, but it's done just as much, more even in return. How do you mean? I can't say I've ever really had somewhere I've lived do much for me. Sheriff sighed softly. Listen, that's because I don't know, we've got issues. We've got issues, that's for sure. Sheriff sighed softly, looking out the windows into town, a clear view of the cobbled together houses cascading down the shallow hillside. Clemency has given me somewhere to live. I had many hopes when I chose to stay in this town, to try to make something of it. I've worked hard to earn the respect of those who live here, as a person, not as an authority. People here don't see me as an oddity. They don't fear me. They don't mock or interrogate others for how they live. This ain't just a community, it's a family. We're all far from our homes, from the people who made us, but here we can make ourselves what we want to be. A town of runaways who don't got to keep running anymore. Sheriff stared out the window for a few more moments. The sun was a bright golden shine, crossing wistful eyes. Oh my god, are we gonna move here? Because we're like little misfits, Turning back to you, Sheriff pulled back into the desk and got comfortable once more. Anyways, that's enough sap for me. Those outlaws all you wanted to talk about? Yeah, I think so. You wish you had more questions to ask, more to say, more to hear about, but no other words escaped your maw except for, thank you. Don't mention it. And thank you, too, for the tip-off. I'll keep these old peepers peeled. Yeah, thank you for talking, Sheriff. We'll be on our way now, but I did have one more question for you. You still with those marshals? In contact with them? I quit the day I rebelled against the miners. Never heard from them again. What are we... Oh, that's like a little flask. I was like, what we drinking? Joseph nodded, tipping his hat, and Sheriff tipping it in return. You stepped out of the station and into the blinding sun together. How romantic. Alright, we got one more place. The dry desert air is warm in your lungs. Blazing afternoon sun bakes the ground beneath you as you walk near the edge of town again. Your throat feels tight, feet sore. Bro, he just like me for real. There's a gentle pounding of blood in your head, accompanied by a familiar piercing ache. Headache or arm ache? Everything seems hazier than it usually is. Thoughts are swimming. You're fine. Just keep walking. You almost bump into Joseph as he stops short, looking around again, searching for anything you might have missed. You look as well, but the sun seems too bright somehow. You look down at your feet to shield your eyes, staring at the tiny dunes of your footprints in the dust. All right, so where to now? I think there's only one place of interest left. You heard what he said, but it didn't quite stick with you. Yeah, sure. Should we get going there then? Again, hearing, but nothing stays. Your thoughts feel like just caught fish wriggling from your hand. Um, hmm, all right then, let's go. Yeah, let's keep moving. Joseph starts walking away and you follow. You try to follow. Your feet move, but they don't land where you want and you stumble a little. Joseph looks around at you as you stand there, staring at your feet again. Hey, what's the matter, partner? Huh? I feel a little dizzy. You doing all right? Didn't say anything. He places his hand on your shoulder and twisted you to look at him, looking down into your face. Yeah, you're looking a little sick there. Let's go sit down a spell. Yeah, instead of like sitting down on like in like one of the buildings, we're like, you know what? Let's sit down in the sun. Let's sit down on a hot rock in the sun. He started walking with a hand on your shoulder, guiding you over to a ledge with a shallow drop you could both sit on and hang your legs over. You feel better sitting down, more stable. You hear the rustle of Joseph unclipping something from the back of his belt, seeing him pull a round canteen between the two of you. When's the last time you had a real drink? Might be mighty thirsty if you're feeling that dizzy. Of course! How could you have forgotten? You'd been riding and walking all day, but hadn't had a drop of anything since you set out. Although you weren't sure what Joseph had brought with him. What's that look for? You think I got liquor in here? He chuckled a little and unscrewed the cap, letting you smell in a moment before taking a long gulp. Just water, see? Get it down before you collapse on me or some. You sheepishly took the canteen from him and gave it a little wave in his direction as a cheers. You tilt it into your dry mouth and take deep gulps for a second, licking water drops hanging on the edge of your lips after. Bro, I just know that water was bussin' despite the fact that it was probably like so warm. I'm like, yeah, he just said it. Bit warm for my liking. Can't beat cold water from a clean stream, but better than drying out like your mom was washing. You take another swig before handing it back to him. Bro, if that was me, I would have to physically stop myself from chugging all of it. Thank you. Don't worry about it. Just pop up next time. Almost hit the dirt just because you didn't say anything. Sorry, it was just, we have a job here. I didn't feel like I could waste time. Can't even make time to sit down and drink? You're on like most of it. Who put a snake in your boot anyway? You gotta slow down a little. Maybe. Oh, what do you do to relax when you're off the job? Relax? Yeah, you know, relax, unwind, take a load off. I know what you mean. The question just caught you off guard a little. You weren't sure how to answer. You've never given it much thought. What do you do to relax? The gang is always busy with something, traveling, hiding out, making trouble. Not a lot of time to not do anything. I guess I play cards sometimes, mostly just solitaire. Hey, yeah! I love a good game of solitaire. Though, like, I play the baby version with, like, where you flip one card at a time instead of three because I'm bad at the game. I just like I like card gober. Um, Respectable. You win much? No. Ain't about winning anyway. It just helps to pass the time. Yeah, I know what you mean. Me and the boys usually play some rounds of cards, sometimes betting. Although some of them are some real sore losers. Sometimes it's easier just to let them win and avoid the issue. I'll beat one of them at poker 5 times in a row, and I swear the rest of the week he was giving me the eyes. Found my hat full of knife holes one morning too, but I think it was just to scare me. At least I hope it was. He gave a loud guffaw, the real and unrestrained kind that made you doubt a second if the canteen really was just water. Well, I mean, bro, he had 2 beers. But I guess I can't say that that affected him because, like, what if you didn't go to the saloon till. Okay, anyways. He had a nice laugh, he thought. Someone actually enjoying themselves. Maybe it was just nice to hear a laugh that wasn't done at you. You gambling, man? A flutter in your chest, at the end of the ribs. Not really. Never had much to gamble in the first place. Always seemed like a waste. I can't respect that restraint. Don't always have to be about money, mind you. When I was younger, me and Papa used to. He stopped for a moment, thinking, and scratching his neck, his train of thought slowed by some forgotten memory. We used to play cards after dinner, and a lot of days when I came home, I'd bring pebbles from the river. I always liked how smooth and pretty they looked, all sorts of colors and shapes, all of them different. We kept them on the mantelpiece, and when we played cards, we'd bet with them. He always won, but it was too much fun for me to ever be mad. Think he did let me win, though, when I was betting big and was gonna lose one of the rocks I really liked. He always knew which ones were my favorite and never wanted to see me cry. Can't think of any other reason he would have lost to me. Suppose I ought to thank him for teaching me. You weren't sure what to say, so you just gave him a soft smile. Family could be so complicated, you didn't want to say the wrong thing. Oh, you know what? He dug into his pocket and produced a tattered looking packet in his hands that you recognized me playing cards. I thought he was gonna give me pebbles. How about some... I don't even know how to say it. Anyways, you played that before? And we can bet with, He twisted around himself, looking for anything you could use as stand-in betting chips. He saw his eyes settle on a small pile of rocks, for a moment, but instead noticed a stray feather, barely holding onto the back of his hand. He plucked it and placed it between you both, twisting how he sat to face you better. We can bet on this feather. We'll do a 1st to 5, you get it if you win, and I keep it if I win. You swiveled yourself to sit cross-legged and face him. Didn't know you were so desperate to gamble you'd use your own body. Hardy har. Just thought it'd be more interesting than rocks. Oh, well, I thought you were a rock lover, Mr. Rock Collector. Take them on the open road, your own little rock circus. A regular Barnum. Joseph couldn't help but smile, even through his fake pouting at your teasing. I don't know if J.H. Barnum has quite the same ring to it, frankly. J.H.? Yeah, as in Joseph Harrier, my initials. Oh, of course. So, do you know how to play this game? This amazing card game? No, I only know solitaire and like Go Fish. No. Alright, rules are simple. I'm the dealer. I deal you 2 cards face up and deal myself 1 face up and 1 face down. Idea is to get as high a number from your cards as you can without going over 21. If you go over 21, it's a bust. Same goes for me. But you need to get a higher number than me to win. A draw is called a push. You can hit to get another card or stand to stick with what you have. You can hit as many times as you like as long as you're under 21. After you stand, I flip over my face down card and have to hit as long as it's under 17. If I go bust or my number is lower than yours, you win. If you get 21 exactly, then you don't hit or stand, and I can get a push in that case if I get under 21. Cards are worth what the number says. Face cards like king, queen, jack, or 10. Where things can get a little confounding is that the ace is worth either 1 or 11. Ace is worth 11 in the hand unless it would be a bust, in which case it's just 1. Ace can still be an 11 if it would let you win. Gets a little muddled during games sometimes, but I ain't trying to cheat you, so don't worry about it too much. Right, let's play. Like I said, first to 5 wins. Damn, we're actually playing. Wait, hold on. I'm not gonna lie, I was not really paying too much attention here. You've got the 7 of diamonds and the 10 of spades, making a total of 17. Dealer's face-up card is the queen of clubs, making his current total 10. Okay, so he's got 10. We've got 17 right now, but he's got a... I'm gonna hit. Oh, I fucked it up. You know, sometimes it just do be like that. 16. He's got 8. I mean, if he's got any of the face cards, then like he's automatically gonna have higher than me. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I would need a 5 or lower. Listen, I've never claimed to be a gambling person. I need to stop. Oh my god. I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna stand. It's fine. We can get this back. 15. I can't believe this. I was really feeling confident. Stand. Okay, we got a draw there. Okay, I have 12. I'm gonna hit. 14. I'm gonna hit. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Damn, he's gonna win. I have no points. 14. I mean, if I pull another 10, then that's gonna be 24. I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna stand. I'm done. Yo, I finally got a point. I'm gonna hit. 21. Let's go. I can't believe this. The one time I hit directly 21. I'm gonna hit. We're standing. Let's stand. Bro, what is this? 19. Ooh. I mean, what are the odds? I'm gonna stand. Yo, did I win again? Yo. 20? I'm standing. Alright, what is he gonna do? Oh, okay, we're drawing. 6, let's hit. 10, I'm hitting again. 20, I'm standing. Babes, that's it. 17. No! Okay, we're at 14, I'm gonna hit. No! No, I lost! Ugh. Sorry, bucko. House always wins, huh? Ah, well, it's still a game of luck. End of the day, well played, sir. He picked up the feather, but to your surprise, held it out to you. Here, take it. But you won. Well, I don't really have much use for a stray feather, do I? Got plenty of them anyway. You keep it. You took the feather in your hand, twisting the smooth quill back and forth a couple times between your thumb and forefinger. It was thin and tapered and the color of coffee. Thick, uneven stripes of cream white ran all along it from the middle. Thank you, Joseph. Don't mention it. You pocketed the feather carefully. I'm gonna be thinking about this for the rest of time, thank you. We should probably get back to it. Long as you're happy to and can stand steady, then I'm ready to. You swung yourself up onto your knees and stood up with a sprightly jump. Alrighty, let's get a wiggle on. Yes, sir. There might be a meeting we can drop in on at the town hall. Seems worth a look. Sounds good to me. I wouldn't mind sitting down a spell neither. Yo, we're going to the town meeting. You both start walking to the outskirts of town, weaving between the clumps of houses and down the dirt banks. You keep walking on a flat stretch, smooth and compacted from the frequent travels of people. Some townsfolk on their porches wave at you, or give a little afternoon as you pass on by. Is it just me, or does it feel like everyone here is nicer than most? Well, maybe, but I ain't complaining. He gives an enthusiastic wave to a small kid shyly hanging around outside their house under the shade. I could get used to folk being nice to me. They not usually? I mean, I don't stray far from the gang a lot of the time. Maybe this is normal. Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't know either. You arrive at the large wooden building you'd been heading towards, noting how similar to a chapel it looked. Joseph walks up the small steps and opens the door with a rattle, holding it open for you. A gentleman? Okay, thank you. Thank you kindly. Music's a little bit funky, I'm not gonna lie. Funky in a good way. He follows you into the short, darkened hallway, closing the door behind him with another wooden rattle. The meeting hall is fairly large and simple and bright. The wood walls are varnished and gleaming from the ample sunlight filtering through the arched windows. Rows of benches line the aisle, facing away and half facing towards you on each side. Sitting on a nearby bench turned away from you is a hunched figure in black. Hearing you come in, the figure jumps to life, rising from the seat. They turn to you both, revealing themselves to be an elderly tortoise, holding a small book in one hand. Damn, I already used my old person voice. What am I gonna do? Do my eyes be deceiving me, or do I see new visitors in our town? He walks with the characteristic slowness of someone his age and nature down the aisle towards you both, but with a sprightly spring to his step. He tucks the book under one arm and extends both his hands to shake hands with Joseph, and then you. Welcome, welcome to Clemency, and to our meeting hall. I'm Jacob, and what might your names be? I'm Joseph, and this here's my associate, Kinneret. Pleasure to meet you. I assure you, the pleasure is all mine. It has been a good while since we've had fresh faces around here. Now, you'll have to excuse me, but I have some business to attend to quickly. Feel free to sit and pray here until I return if you so wish. Before you can ask any more questions, he shuffles between you both and is out the door. Damn, he really said, bye! You and Joseph look at each other quizzically, sitting down on the nearest bench together. What did he say? Sit and pray here? That's what I heard, too. Sorry, I completely forgot to do accents. Is this a meeting hall for prayer? The meeting house of God? I don't get it. Babes, this is a church. This is a church. You can't help but smile at his musings as he looks around the room, looking into the rafters of the ceilings before turning back to you. You lock eyes with him, staring into the honey gold and brown streaked rings of his keen gaze. He smiles at you coyly. Damn, we're flirting again. And looks away, readjusting in his seat. You realize you were holding your breath. You sit up on You sit up on the bench more too. The hard wood at your back reminds you of church days. All the fuss and protest against your mother about your Sunday best. You don't miss the frills and laces at all. You do miss singing hymns with her. She had a beautiful voice. I don't remember the last time I prayed. Don't cross my mind very much. Can't say you're missing anything. All the good it do you. Not a believer. I don't want to blaspheme, but God's done a whole lot of jack squat to help me all my life. Don't really feel like praying to someone who doesn't care about me, or anyone like me for that matter. Which is why I wouldn't have pegged you for a devout man. Joseph laughed a bit, almost mocking the idea. No. I don't think anyone could have accused me of that, not with some of the things I've done. But I still pray. Only the Lord knows if he's listening, but it reminds me what's important to me. A lot of the time I just pray for family, hope they're doing fine. I hope they are too. There was a momentary silence between you, like the subtle shift of coals in a long burning fire, now snuffed by the door rattling open again. You looked behind you, and sure enough, it was Jacob shuffling in. He grabbed a broom and briefly swept some dust he'd track in back outside before closing the door with another rattle. Forgive me for the delay. I hope I haven't kept you two from your business. Don't worry yourself. We're doing just fine here. He leaned into and nudged you playfully. Good. So, how may I help you, gentlemen? The word catches you off guard a little, the way it trips off his tongue so easily. No bitterness or mockery. Oh, so we on our trans arc, huh? That's what this is. That's what this is, huh? Joseph seems to stall for a moment before a little wry smile returns to his face. He adjusted in his seat to turn to Jacob, who had now taken a seat facing you on another bench. Well, we're just passing through, but I'm curious. You mentioned something about prayer? Yeah, oh my god, I'm so stupid. Why did I not realize this earlier? Like, they call us tomboy, because, you know, we're in their eyes, just like a girl, like, dressing more boyish. Damn, you know, my brain doesn't work too good these days. Anyways. Well, yes, of course. You must forgive me. I'm clearly far too used to the usuals of this town. His slow drawl of words is comforting, like being told a long, worn story by a grandparent. This is the meeting hall for friends, Quakers, if you will. We're a largely Quaker community here in Clemency. Quakers. Oh yeah, there's a lot of you folk over in Pennsylvania, and the likes ain't here, ain't there? Yes, indeed, that's true. In fact, that is where I hail from. But I must admit, it has been a long time since I last visited. Sorry, I've got to say I'm at sea here. I've never heard of Quakers. I can't say I'm much more enlightened myself. I don't know nothing about them. Oh, sorry, that was Joseph. The J names. I don't know if I feel like I might have spoken a Joseph line in the Jacob voice. Pretend it didn't happen. I can't say I'm much more enlightened myself. I don't know nothing about him. You both turned to Jacob expectantly. Well, what's the simplest way I can explain our beliefs? He fell into deep thought for a few moments, eyes staring into the middle distance before coming back to life. We believe that there is that of God in everyone, that we all have an inner light that guides us. We don't perform sermons or sing hymns. Instead, we pray in silence together. There are no guidelines as to what you should do, other than try to connect and listen to the light within yourself. We also very, we also very strongly believe in pacifism and do what we can to promote peace, denouncing all forms of violence and the degradation of our fellows who walk the earth with us. It's important to respect the light of God within everyone. That's certainly how I see it. That sounds nice, but, well, things don't often work that way in my experience. Jacob smiled wisely, likely having heard the same sentiment many times before. Yes, there's certainly some that adhere to it more than others in town here, but it's always been an important tenet for our community. So, everyone in this town are Quakers? Well, yes and no. Many of us are, but some of us more so just adhere to the same principles and ideals of nonviolence and so forth. Quakerism isn't enforced, but it bonds this community. Huh, interesting. What about old Sheriff? What about Sheriff? With the pacifism and whatnot, doesn't seem like it'd be easy. Oh, well, yes, I can see how you might suppose that. Sheriff cares about keeping the peace, but isn't solely responsible for it. We all are. It's what made this town so easy to keep going. Me and Sheriff see eye to eye on many things. So, you and Sheriff have been here a while then? Did you found this place or something? You'd have believed it by the tortoise's age. He could definitely be as old as this town. Damn. Damn, come on. At least you said that in your head, not out loud. No, you flatter me, for I am not quite that pioneering. But I have indeed been here for a long time. If you'd indulge me, I could tell you a little of my story. Please do. I took my little hat off. Jacob nodded, again drifting off into thought for a moment before coming back with his words. Damn, look at him sit. Look at him sit. As I said, I'm from Pennsylvania. During the height of the gold rush, with so many heading west, many Quakers thought it would be a benefit to follow. I was much younger then, much more eager to get on the trail and spread the ideals of friends. Although I can't say my love of blabbing has waned much. He gave a charming and hoarse little laugh at his own jibe. The trail was very hard, but I learned much from others in the caravans and towns and cities all the way. So much life and light. I arrived in this here town maybe more chipper than I had left, but it was not to be. His expression softened, drawing into himself, emotion failing to find its way onto his face. I loathe to speak ill of my fellow man, but when I arrived, this was a godless place. The miners had a little care for each other, be it out of greed or desperation. They were consumed by their need for gold, even those who had their fill. The whole town was tense and unpredictable. Arguments, even violence, would erupt whenever something valuable turned up. A new vein, gold in the river. They do whatever they had to get what they wanted. The night I arrived, they told me of the so-called savages that used to reside here. Very little makes my blood boil, I tell you boys what. But the way the miners talked about those Indians, how happily they told me stories about the ways they drove them out. Unspeakable things. Things I dare not and would not want to repeat to anyone. I tried explaining the Francis way how even the savages, as they called them, had the light of God in them. How we were equally important in the presence of God's light. That the people we share this earth with were not our enemy. They had no care for my explanations. They had no care for the needs or lives of others than themselves. It made me wonder how Quakers' past had convinced people of the evils of slavery, of the importance of peace, building bonds instead of destroying one another. I lost hope. I thought maybe things had changed so much, perhaps this was the people's limits. Tolerance of those who could get in their way was no longer an option. Or perhaps I was just a failure, unable to convince a single soul of giving a damn. Damn. That's sad, Jacob. The old tortoise looked forlorn, brows furrowed, like he was reliving these moments so vividly that these were the same faces he wore. Then along came Sheriff. Oh, Sheriff. I was a little worried when Sheriff was first assigned to the town that I'd just have another person to fight with, someone with authority on the side of the miners. Instead, I found a kindred spirit, someone who actually listened to me and agreed with me on many things. Very quickly, we became firm friends. Historians would call them best friends. Eventually, Sheriff got sick of the miners, decided enough was enough, and shut down the town, forced the miners to move elsewhere. The entire time he'd been talking about Sheriff, his face was lively and lit up, his hands moving with his words. So are you guys like besties or something? It was a lot like how your pastor used to give sermons. Surely there was resistance to a whole mining town being packed up like that. Of course. But Sheriff did what was right. That's the way Sheriff's soul is set. I felt buried by the weight of the town's hate, their convictions like stone walls I could not scale. I'll be grateful to God until the day I die the Sheriff came here. I was given so much hope when I'd lost it all. And you've been here ever since? Jacob chuckled. Yes, we have. Only a handful of us stayed after the miners left, and it was hard to know whether this town would still stand. But we felt sure we could find more people who cared as long as we worked together. More people like us. His words hung in the air, settling around you and Joseph as Jacob settled his gaze on you both. So, those mines are still around? A lot of mining towns died down because of their gold drying up, but the miners just left. I guess there's some still here. Well, yes, I suppose so. I can't say I've thought much about it in recent years. We don't encourage those looking for gold. I'm sure you understand. It's nothing but trouble. His warm gaze turned somewhat steely. You weren't sure how long it might go on for if Joseph didn't pipe up. Course, Jacob. We're just curious bunch. Thank you for talking with us strangers so long. His stern eyes disappeared in an instant, and he humbly waved away Joseph's thanks. No, the pleasure's all mine. It's been good to talk to new ears. If you'll excuse me now, I must get this place tidied up for today's meeting. Quaker meeting? Yes, indeed. You're both welcome to join us if you'd like. Thank you, Jacob, but I'm thinking we'll be off anyhow. You all stand, stretching and shaking off the stiffness from wings and tails and legs. Go well and keep the light close to you. You both nod and leave through the same rattling door as before, catching one last glance at Jacob, starting his chores before you close it. Joseph stands with you for a moment in the porch of the meeting hall, looking off into the town. What are you thinking? Well, we know now that these folks ain't gonna put up much of a fight. Maybe some of them, but... And there's definitely gold here, somewhere. Joseph had no real emotions playing across his face, but he was standing much more still than you had seen him before, like he was trying not to breathe. Come on, we've got more people to talk to. He exhaled sharply, the feathers on his beak next to his nose holes fluttering. Yeah. You walked past the houses and people like before, but didn't feel like waving back. Walking back to the edge of town, on the other side from the sign you now knew read Clemency, you both sat on the edge of the little hillside slope. Picking up dust on yourselves, you settle on the rocky crevices. I think that's all the useful places of interest here, unless you want to go knocking on folks' doors asking for gold. I think we've disturbed this lot enough for a day. Your resting hand becomes restless as it brushes against some of the dry desert grass, entwining it between your fingers, slowly pulling it from its roots. So, what did we actually figure out? Everyone here is kind of mostly defenseless. I think pacifist is the word. You tug more grass up into your hands. Truly, this is me. If I'm ever sitting in grass, I'm pulling it up. I'm sorry. They can maybe fight off some bandits, but no officers are gonna come help, and they ain't gonna do much good against a whole gang. And there's gold here, somewhere, in some forgotten mines no one's seen for decades. Well, it's gotta be around here. This is a mining town, for Pete's sake. How far could it be? You shrugged. Sheriff said the town was moved. The mines could be anywhere now. Maybe it really was just rumors. Maybe there's not really anything to find here. I think you know as well as I do that these folks were antsy. Friendly as well, but gold gets their hackles up. Someone has to know where the mines are. You knew he was right. You knew how to read people well enough. Joseph stood up, gazing out across the landscape of the town and beyond, searching towards the horizon. Gonna use those special eyes of yours, bird brain? More use than you chasing your tail, but this is the equivalent to like LGBT people calling each other slurs. But like they're friends. He looked at you for a moment with a smirk, and you smirked back. You rolled the grass in your hands between your fingers, squashing the reeds of it together, dropping seeds in the sand. I can't see nothing. Goddamn sun in my eyes ain't helping neither. I don't know if Bartholomew would help out. He was maybe the most friendly one of the bunch. Sheriff didn't even talk about the gold. Because Sheriff knows how to keep the town safe. You look up at Joseph, his puzzled face squinting in the sun, looking down at you. Looking back out into the desert, the sun sits between two rocky outcroppings in the distance, a light bulb plucked from the sky by unmoving fingers. It'll start getting dark soon. Sheriff knows where the mines are. Bartholomew said he never saw them, and Jacob was never a miner. He had no reason to go to the mines. What? So he never saw them? That don't make sense. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, even if he did see them back then, he wouldn't remember where they were now. Sheriff still knows where they are, because they're the biggest danger to the town. I'd wager Sheriff even checks up on them every so often to make sure it's undisturbed. Huh. I guess that checks out. We don't have the time for a stakeout, though. You balled your hand into a fist, the grass yielding and turning to dust. We don't need to know where they are anyway. We got all we need. Knowing where the mines are would just be a penny in the hat. We should think about our next move. You ignore the tiny knot in your stomach as you thought about what to do next. You should just leave, but there's nothing else to do here. We should just think about resting. Getting dark soon. I think we could stay at the saloon. Sheriff did offer. You sure you want to stay here for the night? Seems like the least we can do before we leave. Unless camping outside has some mighty appeal to you. Joseph flashed a wry smile. Alright, let's go have a look first. No point bringing the horses down if I can't afford the rooms. Standing up, you feel the dust fly between your fingers with the winds blowing east and follow Joseph a few paces behind. I don't know how much longer this game is, but I think we're gonna call it here for today. If there's a lot more, then obviously I'm gonna post another video, and if there's like a little bit more, then I guess you're getting a really short video followed up by this long ass video. It's been like over an hour now. But yeah, so far this game has been fun. Love a good visual novel most of the time, and I really enjoy the art style of this game, and the characters are fun, and I like doing bad accents even though I'm bad at them. And I'm curious to see what's gonna happen next time we play in here. If it's gonna like wrap up really fast, or if there's like another section to it. I honestly have no idea. But yeah, that's it. Bye.